So you've got thoughts that do not serve you. They don't help you in any way possible. How do you change those thoughts? We're going to be talking about shifting your thoughts today on episode 169 of The Relaxed Male.
This is The Relaxed Male, a show that comes to you each week helping men to remove the nice guy from their life so they can actually live their life on their terms. Join the host, certified coach Brian Goodwin, as he helps men step out of their heads and become free from the thoughts that bind them.
Hey man, hello and welcome to Relaxed Male. I am your host Brian, and I want to thank you so much for taking the time out of your busy day to sit down, put your plugs in your ears and see what in the world Brian has to say over here on The Relaxed Male. This week, we're talking about shifting your thoughts. But before we actually jump into that, I want to tell anybody who's new here, thank you. Thank you so much for coming in. Our website traffic has started to grow. All of our stats have been showing a nice, gentle upward growth, and it's kind of cool, really. It's neat to actually see that it's put 4 years worth of work is starting to kind of pay off, and we're starting to climb a bit. And I'm really tickled about that. A couple things that have been happening here recently is I've just been busy trying to get the last of my email stuff set up, because we're fixing to start launching into a new program. I'm fixing to have a program that is set for all you guys who are going through a divorce, who are suffering through the pains of divorce. And I want to be able to help y'all to actually to get through that, to make it through to the other side, and to find out, holy crow, I am actually a lot better off thanks to that divorce. And one of those weird things, a lot of people have a trouble fully understanding, but when it actually happens, you really do find yourself on a better footing because of it. So we're going to be talking about that a lot here in the coming weeks, especially as things start piling up and the ball, so to speak, starts rolling downhill and picking up more and more and more stuff. There are a lot of information is going to start coming out, and hopefully it really hits you in a way that needs to be hit, and so that you actually become want to join up and at least check out the workshop, because that's what we'll end up having is a great little workshop that's coming up. But anyhow, so let's get ourselves started. Let's go ahead and shift gears, so to speak. So how do we shift our thoughts? Well, there's a lot of different ways that people interact with the world. And one of the biggest issues that you will actually run across is that your thoughts, a lot of people want to say that their thoughts are their reality. And to a point, yeah, you're right. It is. The way you perceive the world is based entirely upon what your thoughts are. But yet, a lot of people get themselves stuck into a very minimalist style of thinking. It is just this way. And it's not necessarily a matter of not being life and not being black and white, because it is. It's a lot more black and white than a lot of people want to admit. The people who want to have, shades of gray in there are ones who are trying to look for enough wiggle room that they can actually have their way. And sometimes it may be a point where we could actually have maybe some shades of gray, but it's not. The actual cases of needing shades of gray is very, very thin. But so how do we shift our thoughts about what is a potential problem? Let's see here. I'm trying to think of on the fly. Say you have an instance where you're dealing with your ex-wife. Well, let's go ahead and let's jump into just the divorce scenario. And your ex-wife is just, to what you're seeing, being completely unreasonable. Or she's blown up at you, and it's caused a lot of anxiety to build up and stuff like that. And you're wondering, well, what in the world do I do? How do I actually get this fixed? How do I fix her so that I don't feel so bad? Is a lot of what our thoughts are. And in all reality, us trying to do something like that, where we're trying to fix other people because we feel bad, is actually not our responsibility, for one, but also it prevents us from being able to become better people by allowing other people to experience their emotions. So how do we shift our thoughts from being, oh my God, I've got to fix this, to I want her to experience her life. I want my ex-wife to have the best life possible. And that means she's got to go through all the negative emotions that are going to be out there. Instead of resisting that negative emotion, allowing her to experience it and to just be with that type of emotion. And that can be real scary especially for nice guys who are going through a divorce, because those poor nice guys, I'm one included, know that what we want done and what we're trying to get done is to settle our emotional level down to an acceptable amount. And when our wife or kids or somebody is angry at us, that really brings our anxiety, brings our worry, brings all these thoughts that we have, brings them up to the top. Everything rises up, and all of a sudden we're just worried about anything and everything that's going on. And we're trying to calm the wife down, trying to get her to where she ain't yelling at us and cussing us out and calling us names and all this other stuff. And, again, why do we care so much about our ex-wife, somebody who is leaving our relationship, say she's the one who initiated the divorce, and you're wanting to sit in the victim seat and go, well, she's just attacking me, I've got to try to fix it, or she's going to get even more mad at me. No, actually, dude, she's not. She doesn't care about what your thoughts are, because she has no control over your thoughts. She can't hear your thoughts unless you speak them. And then only then the thought that you share, if I can spit the words out, the thoughts that you share are up to interpretation. So she will have thoughts on your thoughts, and she may think that your thought is a completely dumb idea. Or she may think that it's a really good one. Or she may think, well, that doesn't really matter to me. And so she can have any thoughts that she wants. And because we want to try to control those thoughts, that's where a lot of the problems start to form. And that's where we start stacking issues and problems. And, it's not about the nail and all that other stuff that comes out happens because we're busy trying to fix stuff instead of letting a person live their life. To stop, we have to learn how to change our thoughts so that we can actually let the other person live a wonderful life. So how do we do that? Because it sounds like it's something you can do. It doesn't necessarily mean that it's the easiest thing to do, and it's not. Especially when you don't realize that you're running in your own mind. If you're running in a world of fear, if you're afraid of what your wife is going to think, if you're afraid of what your kids are going to think, if you're afraid, if you have fear in your life, that is evident that you have a very unmanaged brain. So you want to start learning how to manage your brain. And there's a couple of different exercises you can actually do that helps you learn how to manage your thoughts and manage your brain and manage what's going on. And the first one is just tapping into what's called a thought download. Take a thought or take a circumstance. Your wife called you an asshole. All right. Congratulations. You've been called a name and it hurt your feelings you believe that it hurt your feelings in some way. Well, what you can do is you can start write down what that circumstance is across the top. And when you do, say, whatever the circumstance was, that's the facts of the discussion. Me and the wife had a fight, or my wife said whatever it is, and you quote it out. From there, just start writing out every thought that you have. Just all the way down. Just fill that page up with all the thoughts that you have about that particular circumstance. Your wife called you an asshole. All right. Well, what do you think about that? Is she right? Is she wrong? Is she good? Is it good? The feeling is bad. Write all of that down. Doesn't matter whether it's a thought, it's an emotion, it's an action, or it's a result. It doesn't matter, because you're just getting all your thoughts out. And what this is doing, this is helping you understand that everything that goes on inside your head is a thought. It's not the truth. A circumstance is absolutely neutral. And with that, you can actually start to understand that your thoughts are just thoughts. You can be there, they can be there, and they can be gone. You can have a thought about your ex-wife one moment, and a thought about your high school sweetheart, the next. It doesn't really matter. You're just everything that you're going through. To take those thoughts and you lay them out gives you the ability to actually see what thoughts you're actually having and which thoughts that are important, which thoughts aren't. And the thought download actually folds over into the model, and the model is the next thing that actually helps you to actually be able to shift your thoughts, because you're becoming more aware of what your thoughts are. So, because when we know that our circumstance is completely neutral, it's not good, it's not bad, it just is. All right. Your wife slapped you in the face. Is that a good thing or is that a bad thing? It doesn't matter until it's neutral, until you apply a thought to it. And then you perceive it to be a good thing or a bad thing. You perceive it to be this horrible, terrible, life altering, trauma, or you decide that this is my wife. I got to my wife enough to where she smacked me. All right. It doesn't mean anything to you. Proof of that very thing I've used multiple times is you go to you and your best friend, y'all both go to the exact same movie in the exact same theater at the exact same time, watch the movie, and y'all both walk out together side by side, and you loved it, your friend hated it. Did y'all watch two different movies? No, y'all watched the exact same movie. So why such different changes? And another reason why another example is, say you had a loved one die in the morning, and you are just receiving the phone call at say 6:00 at night. Well, if the circumstance was what controlled your emotions, you would have started becoming sad the very moment that she died. But you didn't actually start becoming sad, and you didn't start having the emotional roller coaster that you were on until after you were told that the relative had passed. That's why it's not good nor bad until you apply a thought to it. So you can actually utilize the model to start understanding what your thoughts are and being able to see, is this thought serving you or is it not serving you? And so a model is, I've mentioned it on several podcasts before, but just as a good review, you take a piece of paper and you write on the left-hand side, you write a C, a T, an F, an A, and an R. You got your C, that's your circumstance. Your wife slapped you. You write that on there. Thoughts. That thought download you did? Do it. When you write down the thought download, choose one of the thoughts. Now, the thought is if you write a circumstance down and it's got a modifier, my wife slapped me really hard across the face. Well, that's a thought. So you would need to shift it and take that modifier. My wife slapped me. The thought is it was really hard and it hurt. Okay. And from there, you can write down whatever the thought is. And what is the emotion that you had because of that thought? Because our emotions come from our thoughts. They don't come from outer space. They don't come from our wife slapping us did not create us being having a hurt feeling. Our wife calling us a bad name didn't cause our hurt feelings. It was the thought that we had about that event. So wife called us an asshole and that hurt your feelings. Okay. Why is it hurting your feelings? 90% of the time, it is because we have a thought that actually tells us she's right. You're an asshole, dude. And so we start to agree with that person. And that hurts our feelings. And so that's when the problem starts actually coming into problems. And I've got my Wi-Fi thing came on. So anyhow, you can do from the feeling, then you can actually write, how do you act when you feel that particular emotion? All right. So you have your circumstance, you got what your wife slapped you across the face, thought was that it was really hard and it hurt really bad. And your action is to become defensive and start yelling louder. Your feeling is that your feelings get hurt, which causes your action to be you start yelling louder. Because you're yelling louder, your response, your result is going to be linking back up to what your thought is. So your result is you're not connecting with your wife. You are being an asshole because you think that because you're being angry and you're being, all yelly and loud. You're circling back up to that thought of, I am an asshole. So how do you break that? Or maybe you're trying to lose weight. And another one, you could actually do a whole model for losing weight. How do you break those thoughts? Well, one of the ways you can actually shift those thoughts is by doing what's called a bridging thought. If you're overweight and you can't stand the sight of yourself in the mirror, how do you get around to actually loving yourself? Because to be able to lose weight and to be able to take care of yourself, you actually have to love yourself. And if you can't love yourself, you're going to have problems on actually losing that weight, because every time you look at yourself in the mirror, you're going to feel bad. Well, how are you going to make yourself feel better? You're going to go to old tried and true of, I'm going to eat half a gallon of ice cream. All right. And so you eat a half gallon of ice cream, you feel a lot better because you've got a whole bunch of sugar in you. But then, you're still fat. All right. You're still a man with fat on his body. You're not going to change that until you can look at yourself and go, I'm an all right dude. I like myself. And from there, you start giving yourself enough blessing and enough grace and enough love that you actually are going to want to lose the weight. Oh, I want to be here a lot longer. I want to I look good as it is. I want to look even better. Well, how are we going to do that? Well, that's where you start making the changing thoughts. So to do that, a lot of us will look at the mirror and go, God, dude, this gut is horrendous. My butt is a monster. You look at yourself and there's a lot of stuff you don't like. Well, start working that around to where you do like it. You may not be able to say, I've got the body of Adonis, but you may go, I do like my eyes. And you believe that you like your eyes. Whoever just joined in, hey, thank you very much for joining in. And guys, on the podcast, if you're wondering, I am actually recording a live stream, and I'm going to be trying this for the next 3 weeks just to see what I can get. So anyhow, that's what's going on. So you can actually take little thoughts, say, instead of, I can't stand looking at myself in the mirror, I can at least stand looking at my eyes. I've got nice eyes. And if you are struggling even to come up with something that nice, then you may have to go to, I like something about you. You can find something. I've got nice hands. You've got something on you that you actually do kind of like. And from there, when you can firmly believe, I like my eyes. I like how my eyes look. You might be able to expand out to, I like the shape of my eyes. I like how my eyes fit with my nose. I like how my eyes and my nose fit with the rest of my face. And, eventually you're going to get to the point. I would get up to the point to where, wow, I've really lost a lot of hair. I can't stand the fact that I don't have any hair, but I do have hair. I do. I've got hair. It's not very combed right now, but I do have hair. And so you can work yourself and make these little bridging thoughts until you get from one side of where you are right now to where you want to be. And that whole crossing the everything is called the crossing the bridge of misery, or the river of misery. And you have to do that with bridging thoughts. And those bridging thoughts are you actually shifting your thoughts so that you, instead of playing small, playing on the defense, you're actually playing for keeps. You're playing bigger. You're playing on offense. You're getting after it. But to get after it, you have to start small. Now, another way that you can actually shift your thoughts, and especially if these actually come into problems, if you're running into an issue of a lot of self-deprecating, not even humor, but just self-deprecating thoughts. You're just not liking yourself. Everything you do, according to you, turns to crap and just stinks to high heaven and everything else. Well, there is a method called leaves in the stream. And apparently from what I've been doing some looking up on this, it's actually a part of a therapy, that psychological therapy for people who are struggling with who they are. Say they're always anxious about stuff. And this is called acceptance commitment therapy. And the way they do it, and it sounds, the way it was explained to me through a couple of the different videos and blog posts and things like that I read, it sounds a little on the woo-woo side, because you're sitting still. You're finding a place comfortable, and you could try this if you're not driving. And you think about a thought. You have a thought. And whatever thoughts that you have that pop up in your head, you allow that thought, you take that thought and you set it out like on an imaginary stream that's flowing by. And you pay attention to where that thought is going. Is it going with the flow of the water? Or is it actually going against the flow of water? Or is it just sitting still? And if you can eventually have the thoughts all start flowing down the stream, you actually are able to start letting some of the past hurts that you've had in your life. You're able to start letting those go. You can decide, you know what? I really don't care about that. My wife calling me an ass. All right. Congratulations. She thought I was an ass, and I can let that go. But if it keeps coming back up, again, you just look at it, examine it, decide, you know what? Okay, yep, that is still just a perfectly fine thought to have, and set it back on the stream and let it go and let it flow back down. Now, I'm not a therapist, so I'm a coach, so I don't know the full ins and outs and details of it, but it's a really fascinating way of being able to look and understand that thoughts are just thoughts. They don't hang around. If you keep coming up and keep coming up and keep coming up, it's because we keep thinking them back up. So if you want to get rid of those thoughts, then you can actually just let them go and just let them float on down. Let them go. And what happens when you actually start changing your thoughts? You actually start allowing yourself to dream bigger. If you are always trying something new, and you're running into a brick wall, say you all of a sudden you start losing all motivation. So you decide, I'm going to start working out every day. And so you go and you get a gym membership and all this. All right. And so you then just sit on the couch. How do you get motivated? Well, again, you've got to change your thoughts on what going to the gym actually means. For a lot of people, it means pain. It means sweat. It means being tired and feeling like crap afterwards. And no, it's not quite so much the case. Now that may be what you're thinking every time. Hey, we got two people here now. That may be what everybody keeps thinking, but it's not really always the case. You could also look at going to the gym, not so much as it's painful, But as you're treating your body with more respect, you're burning the damage that you've done off. Oh, someone just left. All right. So anyhow, and see, I could have thoughts on that. I could have made, and both people left now. Oh, this will be even funner. And now they're all gone. So I could really start messing with my own head. I could start having thoughts about, I could take the fact that I had just had two people show up and now they both have left. Oh, now we had one come back. We could actually make that mean, a whole bunch of stuff. One, that I just suck at broadcasting, which is very much could be the case. I could very well just be horrible at this, and that's okay. I'm fine. I'm having fun with it. It doesn't make me a good guy or a bad guy or an indifferent guy. I just am taking the thoughts of, I want to do live streaming again. And to try live streaming and to do live streaming is matter of just sucking it up, because there's a lot of anxiety and there's a lot of thoughts that jump into my head right before I hit that go live button. And so when you actually allow yourself to go live and you actually allow yourself to experience those and just push through that whole veil of anxiety, you find that life isn't nearly as bad as you want to say it is. So guys, now I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to wrap this up real quick. And I want to say that your thoughts are your thoughts. They are around and they do matter to just one person. And that person is you. If you try to enforce your thoughts onto somebody else, that's where we're overstepping our bounds a bit. One, we can't make another person think a thought that we don't want them to think, or to think a thought that we do want them to think. All we can do is we can share our thoughts. And that's what talking and discussion, this is what I'm doing. I have just been expressing one great big old long giant thought to you. And that's all it is. You can take what I said and go, dude, this is good stuff. I like this. I'm going to share this with everybody else. And if you do like this episode and it does resonate with you, then please do share it out onto Facebook and Twitter and Instagram and every place else you possibly could think of. And if you don't, and you're like, dude, this guy just is horrible. Oh, okay. Then great. Awesome. I appreciate the thoughts. Your thought is your thought. It doesn't have to influence me. But then there are times that I love hearing from my friends and my family, and I love hearing what their thoughts are. And those thoughts, when they do share them, allow us to intermingle. And those thoughts become such a wonderful part of coexisting with other people. And so, yeah, you want to share your thoughts with other folks, because when you do, they're going to take what they find to be very useful to them, and they're going to take it and apply their line of thinking to that. And so their thoughts and your thoughts combine, and they come a whole new thought. So keep thinking, be aware of what the thoughts are. If you're not in someplace you want to be, then start working on shifting your thoughts. And if you want help on getting your thoughts shifted, if you want to have help getting your thoughts over to one where you're blowing your darn hair back with every idea you have because it suddenly starts succeeding, then reach over to me. Go to relaxedmail.com/coaching and say, dude, I need some coaching. Can we do just a little quick coaching session? I'll say, sure. Yeah, we got an hour and a half. Let's talk. And we can sit down and we could talk for an hour and a half about whatever it is that you want to coach on. And if it becomes to a point where you're like going, dude, I really am digging this, I want to go ahead and have a package. I do a 1-year package. We do a year long, and we meet and we talk and we grow and we develop. And all of a sudden, before you realize it, your life, which was sucking like a bad rotten bone, all of a sudden is amazing and is wonderful and is, higher than the heights that you're at are beyond what you would have ever thought possible. And it's all thanks to the fact that you were being coached. Coaching is one of those little superpowers that is the nitrogen to your life's quest. So you can fly further down the road when you've got a little bit of coaching, because we've helped shift your mind to something that is even better. So guys, with that, I want to thank you all very much for listening. Thank you for whoever it was that's over on the Facebook area giving me that big old thumbs up. I appreciate it. Guys, if anything with this show struck to your core, hit you, just resonated, and you're going, damn, that was good. I needed to hear that. Take your share, hit that share button on your podcast app or on Facebook or wherever it is, and share it onto Facebook, share it onto Twitter, take a screenshot, share it on Instagram. Let guys know in your life that there's a show out there that is meant to help men become better. This is what the epitome, the basic part of what this show is about. I want men to become better men. Our society needs good, strong, masculine men. And we're struggling here. We're struggling with having those strong masculine men because we have society beating down any guy that says anything masculine. All of a sudden they screech at you like body snatchers and try to make sure that you are, become a more shallower man. And Rebecca, thank you very much. She said this actually lines up with a big old heart. All right. I'm glad to hear. And so it is one of those things where if you can help other guys out, and this is why I want to help men out to become better men, because it's going to affect not just the men of their lives, it's going to help and it's going to help the other people around them, and it'll help society to grow. And so guys, if you share this out, let other guys know that there is a show out there called The Relaxed Male, and send them over to it and share the podcast episodes. Talk about the podcast. If you know a guy in particular, hit that share button and send it as a text message. It doesn't matter. Just share it, get it out there, get as many guys as we can to start showing up here. Like I said, I'm going to start going live every time I do a podcast, and typically it's going to be on Saturday afternoon or Saturday mornings, just to let you know. This one here, I'm running behind because this is going to be coming out here in a couple of days, and I wanted to go ahead and get this out. But we're also going to start having our podcast going live on Saturdays. And just as an added note, and this is for anybody who listens to the show, if you come on and you ask for on-air coaching, I will be glad to do a little coaching session with you. If you're brave enough to come on to the show also, so that other people can hear the bits of wisdom that you have shown them and shown the community. So if this is something you're interested in, let me know. Shoot a message, go to relaxedmale.com/contact. Let me know if this is something that you would be really interested in doing. If so, beautiful. If not, all right, okay. It's just another idea that I just tossed out there and it did nothing. And I've done a lot of them. So guys, with that, thank you very much for listening. Love y'all tremendously. And I just whacked the snot out of my elbow. I bet you all heard that on the microphone. Ow. Anyhow, guys, catch you later. Bye.